ready, ladies and gentlemen? I think few of you had your drinks already. You arrived very well. The Christmas market is about to build up outside. Once again, are you ready for tonight here at the Google campus? Yeah. Thank you very much. So, welcome to the demo day of the 11th batch of the incubation program from Tenti. It is our utmost pleasure to host this exciting event here for the third time, in fact, in our Google campus here at Europalais in Zurich. Hands up for whom it is also the third time here in the Google campus. Welcome back. We have some returning guests, so you know exactly what you can expect. But hands up for whom it is the first time here tonight. The rest of the room, what a wonderful crowd. Welcome to Google. We love to be a good host. We love to entertain you. We love to feed you good food. But most importantly, we love to show you great startups tonight, which you can maybe potentially find your next investment role into. Once again, here in our Google campus, we love it, the spirit here, because it's a place where innovation and disruption come hand in hand. And then, unlike other places, we celebrate it rather than fear it. And exactly that mindset, Tenti celebrates this as well. And they produce batches of the batches which chases exactly the same mission. My name is Hans, and I'm very, very honored to welcome you tonight and being the host and walk you through this event tonight. In a second, we will hear from leaders from both Google as well as Tenti with a very, very warm special welcome to all of you. And after that quick introduction, we will then kick off with the startup pitches. In between those pitches, so we divide it in two blocks, we will be joined with a fireside chat where we hear on a very hot topic, because it's a fireside chat. I tried. The point is, the topic is nothing less than successful fundraising, which is what exactly all the startups are pursuing as soon as they come out of these phases, to raise money. And we will hear from a very successful romance, I would say, a story between a VC as well as a startup, how this successfully happened and the learnings along the way. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please give a big welcome to Roy Tavor, Managing Director of Google Cloud Switzerland and Austria.
Hello? Can you hear me? Very good. Listen, first of all, I want to say something to Tenti. Who works with Tenti? Where are the people? Very good. Listen, your rebranding worked because suddenly the room is full. So welcome to all of you. It's a pleasure. The first question I always have is, who speaks German? Salut zusammen. Now you know where I'm from. My name is Roy. I lead Google Cloud in Switzerland and Austria, and it's a pleasure to welcome you all for the first, the second, the third time, it doesn't matter. I am deeply passionate about what all of you are doing. Let me ask you a question. Who is a startup here? So this is this. There's no diversity here. Huh? Okay, here. Okay. Big kudos. I come from banking. And I did startup, so I know what sleepless nights feel like. And I'm sure you all experience it right now. We are deeply passionate about digital natives, fintechs, insurtechs, because it's really what propels the future of sometimes the a little bit dusty banking insurance industry. So kudos to all of you. You are rock stars. And I have actually an old friend of mine who I didn't know would be here today, Alistair, who proves no matter what age you are, you can run a startup. I love it. He's 32. Alistair is 32. Good. Then I want to also call out somebody else that I just met. Where's Lav? Very good. Many of you probably don't know, but Lav's startup just received FINMA approval. Congratulations. You were lucky before the Credit Suisse disaster. Try to get a license now, impossible. Congratulations, Lav. I'm sure we'll hear more. You're on a panel after, right?
Yes, but we'll be speaking more about...
Talk about your startup. Talk about your... It's a good marketing platform. Very good. It's a pleasure. For all of the startups that run on Google Cloud, thank you very much. For all the ones that do not yet run on Google Cloud, it's never too late. So thank you for being here. I hope you enjoy the evening. This is critical what Tenti is doing for the community in Switzerland and outside of Switzerland. And it's a real pleasure to see so many people in the room celebrating startups and their successes. And with that, I'll hand it over to my good friend Mark. And thank you very much for being here. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Roy. Before you jump off, obviously some Tenti merch and even something to read, and a big thank you. Big thank you for being here the third time, and you're actually the reason why we are here again and again, because we know each other from almost working on the same startup, but in the end didn't do, and worked on 2 separate startups, and we are both back in other jobs. So it can go well or not.
You never know, but now I tell you a story. It's a funny one. So the first time Mark came here, I got a sweatshirt. And he felt bad because he brought me one that was not my size. So I gave it to my wife. And now, instead of giving me something healthy, he's giving me chocolate. So I'm also going to give it to my wife.
But also something to read.
A book I give to my wife as well.
Something how to drink.
Thank you very much.
We need to check. Thanks a lot, Roy. We trust. It's happening. The startups have been planning for this and working for this since pretty much exactly 3 months. They have been through our program, which really does a lot for focus on pitching. So we will see if that paid off. For those who have seen and maybe joined an early event at Tenti can validate themselves. I already know they did make massive progress, and I'm super excited that it's happening today. Mark is my name. I'm running Europe for Tenti. I'm also a managing partner, and I would like to take a few minutes just to run you through what is happening at Tenti, what we are doing, and also with whom we are doing it. So number one, why we do exist is really because we think startups drive a big part of innovation. It usually doesn't come from within the big companies, with exceptions, as always, with every rule. But the magic, we believe, really happens then when startups work with the big corporates and both come together and actually scale. For example, good ideas coming to the platform and the reach of an established company. This is why we are around, and it's really in 3 buckets that we try to tackle this. Number one is learning, insights, lunch and learn sessions, reports we are writing, or other events we are joining as thought leaders. Then a big focus, obviously, on the collaboration. How can the big elephants work with the mice? How does this work? How can a dance look like? And how does a successful dance develop? And the third one is investing. So we have a big investor network. Many of you are obviously here with the investor glasses tonight. We also have our own fund that we invest, and we invested in all the startups. A big thanks to all the corporate partners that have been backing us for many, many years. UBS, SIX as obviously our founding company, and still parents, I call them, Julius Baer, Generali, and many others who have joined throughout the years. Just looking at this year, we did around 50 investments in startups across the globe. This is from our hubs in Tallinn, our hub in Zurich, and our hub in Asia, where we're based in Singapore. A few startup successes, just to call out, obviously Yokoi, a big name where could acquire funding from Sequoia, but also Keyrock with Ripple, a big investment, and then maybe others like you might know, Oprah Credit, Stapleton, Wester, that are, I think, very well established in Switzerland these days as well. So who of you has seen what has happened at Tenti just very recently? Maybe it's 1.5 weeks ago. what we announced with acquisition, M&A. Okay, a few. So for those who didn't, for us, a big, big step, big news. We did acquire another company that is exactly also active in open innovation, working with established companies like Visas of the world on how to collaborate, make that dance happen. The company is called Headquarters. As of January 1st, they will be a part of Tenti and complete pretty much the footprint across Europe and broaden the scope. I'll show you in a bit. And the idea is really to position and fortify our established, I would say, position in an innovation powerhouse, definitely in fintech. So this is how it looks like on the map, right? Turkey and the UK will come with additional presences where we have people, and we will be 53 people as of January 1, with, like you can see the numbers on the left here, really impressive on the right on your end, impressive alumni companies joining us and mentors joining us, really with the idea, how can we make it bigger, how can we grow the ecosystem, make it more valuable for the startups going into other regions, for investors also coming in and maybe playing something where their local knowledge is key. Enough about us, and let's start talking about the startups. As mentioned, right here, some impressions from the program where they were in our Tenti office. Who has never been in the Tenti office in Zurich? Yeah, still a few. Find a reason to drop by their events normally very frequently, or otherwise just send an email and come by. Really, I think worthwhile to check it out. And what happened during the last 3 months is really, we talked about the foundation, like what needs to be done from like product problem solution area, product market fit, big topics, then how to build it, right, with the technology, and also fundraising is pretty much a topic in all elements. Then grow, sales and marketing, and today is really the celebration where all the pitching will hopefully pay off. Before I close and hand it over to the startups, big thanks to all the mentors who have put in tireless hours and support and gave and shared their advice. Around 30 mentors, 32 I think, who were active in this batch and again tend to show up and just share their wisdom. Big thanks to all of you. Thanks a lot. This leads us to the most exciting part, pitch round 1. Hans, back to you.
Thank you very much, Mark. What a phenomenal stats, breathtaking width and depth Tenti takes. In my day job here at Google Cloud, I work with startups and the startup ecosystem as well. And I think I can really proudly say that I've seen very little organizations such as Tenti who again and again produce such high quality startups batch after batch, truly. So congratulations again, Mark, for Tenti and the entire Tenti crew as well. It's really fantastic what you do here. But don't just take my word for it. Let's hear it yourself. So I'm very excited to kick off with the first group of startups. You see them here. And they bring exciting things together, coming from the world of AI, the world of blockchain. And as this wasn't enough, they use that technology to disrupt industries such as finance, insurance, regulations, some of the hardest industry to crack. And they do it with passion. So I'm very, very excited to welcome them. And with the first startup, so hands up, who here has a relationship to a personal financial advisor? Great. Those who don't raise their hands, that's already important for you to know. Who think their financial advisor can work a little bit harder sometimes for you in giving you the next best opportunity? So I'm sure, like, yeah, everyone would love that. And exactly that, Carlos and Miguel will tell you how they can help you with that problem. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on stage, Carlos and Miguel from Fynce.
Hi, my name is Miguel, he's Carlos, and together we are Fynce. We are both engineers, and we have spent our careers in investment banking, management consulting, and asset management. In asset management, part of our job was to market our funds to clients. And I will always remember my first conversation with a client. She was a doctor. I explained our fund to her, and she told me, cool, I like it, I will invest in it, but how much of my money should I put in here? And the rest of it, what should I do with it? I was a little bit surprised that she asked that to me, because I wasn't interested part. But then a second client came in, and the outcome of the conversation was the same. And then a third. After hundreds of conversations with retail investors, we experienced firsthand a strong reality. People have no clue what to do with their money, and they seek help for it. But at least in Europe, they are not getting it, because they don't trust retail banks, robo-advisors offer another investment product yet little advice, and the array of small boutiques is either expensive or inaccessible.
So we decided to build Fynce, a digital financial advisor that makes quality wealth management accessible for everyone. How it works is we create a personalized investment plan for each of our clients, which covers everything from their short-term liquidity needs to their medium-term financial goals and to their long-term investing. And we tell them not only where to invest, but also how much and why in a simplified and easy-to-understand manner. Essentially, we're providing a service equivalent to that of a human advisor, but we're lowering costs for our clients for up to 75% under a management fee model in which we get an annual 0.4% of the assets managed with us. So we launched Fynce on January this year. We started by developing a wealth tracking module in which we already have over 3,000 users registered. During this period, we also got regulatory clearance from the Spanish regulator to offer investment and advisory services. And we just recently finished developing our investment and advisory module, which is already generating revenue with our first clients.
What's next? We will be raising 400,000 euros in the first quarter of next year to create a strong user base in Spain. So if you are interested in being a part in the future of wealth management, drop us an email, let's talk.
Very well done. Good job. So who would have said that we offer you a financial advisor in person, right? It can be digital. So you see a QR code here, and you're going to see much more QR codes tonight to scan them. And we've heard that before. In this room, this is very well shielded audio-wise, but sometimes it does that to the internet too. For those who can't access the internet now, you can freely log into the Google Guest Wi-Fi. So if you just pull it up, you feel free to log to the Google Guest Wi-Fi, and then you will be back into the internet, and which helps you to log the QR code, which also will be important for the panel discussion later. So for the next startup, and don't worry, I don't make you all night long raising your hand for every question I ask, but some of you probably have looked into crypto, and crypto sometimes, as it isn't tricky enough to wrap your head around how to invest, where to invest. One question comes with that also is, how would you possibly manage the risk around that? With Defiria, exactly that, we hope to listen and hear from Simon in a second how they will do that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Simon.
Hi, I'm Simon, co-founder and CTO of Defiria, where we build an all-in-one risk management platform for digital assets. Risk management will become your main growth driver. However, we are seeing financial institutions struggle to get into digital assets precisely because they lack efficient risk management options. And this is no mere coincidence. Market risk is the leading factor preventing financial institutions from entering the digital asset space. In fact, we are seeing huge adverse events impacting investors' portfolio, wiping out large proportions of them. Secondly, we are seeing that they lack the required data, knowledge, and information to base their capital allocation decisions upon. Lastly, the risk management tools that they had been using don't work in DeFi. Enter Defiria, where we have built our product with exactly these concerns in mind. We start our two-pronged approach with our analysis tools. So if you're, for example, a private bank trying to come up with a crypto offering, we have everything you need to monitor and come up with your strategy. May that be extreme risk testing, live monitoring, or back testing and simulation, you name it, we got it. But we do not stop there. We also offer our host of mitigation options. So if you're, for example, a hedge fund trying to secure your strategy, we have all the tools that you would need to thrive no matter the market. And the best is, all of this across assets, ecosystems, and protocols. We're eyeing up a huge market of more than $1 trillion, growing at a blazingly fast pace, about a third of which is being made up by institutional investors, whose risk management needs we are addressing. And we know we have just the team to do it, with my co-founder and CEO, Marcel, having already successfully scaled up a startup in crypto, and myself having been immersed in the risk sphere for more than 4 years, studying the limits of statistical methods. We have already had the chance to garner some first input, having gone through the accelerator program here in Tenti, and having had the chance to be able to test our methods with our early partners. But for us to continue this journey, we are looking for a pre-seed investment of 700,000 euros, of which about a third is already committed. We will be using these funds in the next half of the first half of next year to roll out our product, validate it, and then go on using these insights to continue building our product even better. So if you're as growth focused as we are, reach out to us. We're looking for a lead investor. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Simon from Defiria, thank you very much. So, does everybody manage to scan the QR code over here, or you don't see it? Don't worry, in case you don't see it, all the startups have built up their booth outside if you haven't seen it already. So after the show, you have plenty of time to ask them more questions, dive deeper into the companies, and maybe find your next investment opportunity. So, speaking of investment opportunity, as you have now managed your risk, for example, with Defiria, the next question lies, how do you even earn interest from your crypto? So from the next company, MC² Finance, we will hear exactly just that, how they will tackle that. But before I let them on stage, I have one question. Does anybody here in the room is called Paul? Anyone whose name is called Paul? Anyone who knows someone whose name is called Paul? Thank you. So for all the Pauls you know, this is dedicated to him, but also to the network. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Chris and Tim from MC² Finance. Good luck.
Hi, everybody. We are Tim and Christoph from MC² Finance, the new way to earn on the crypto. And yes, meet Paul. Paul always puts his savings into a savings account at his bank to earn interest on his crypto and to make his money work for him. His crypto, however, he keeps in his wallet and doesn't do anything with it. Same is true for many others. There are 30 million crypto owners in Europe. 88% of them would like to earn on their crypto, but only 4% do. So why is that? Earning interest on crypto is just way too hard. DeFi is very complicated to use, and existing apps that offer interest in crypto are mostly unregulated black boxes. We have seen FTX and Celsius fail, and many customers lost their money. We built Theia to solve that. We want that Paul and everybody else is able to earn on their crypto. And we want it to be compliant, easy, and transparent. So how do we make it compliant? We issue a BaFin-regulated security bond that gives Paul the legal framework for his investment. We offer our crypto interest product as a white label solution where Paul already has his crypto. So within his financial app or his crypto exchange, such as Trade Republic or Bitpanda. And Theia is 100% transparent. Paul always knows where his crypto are, and at the same time, only he has access to his funds. Theia offers a library of DeFi yield strategies integrated with our partners. Each of our strategies comes with an expected yield and associated risk.
So how do these strategies actually make money? Same as in traditional finance, also decentralized finance needs liquidity to function. We provide that liquidity to decentralized protocols, and in return, they share parts of their revenue with us. Investing is super simple. Paul just picks a strategy, He deposits his cryptocurrencies, and in return, he receives a fiat token. Meet the team behind Fija. Firstly, there's Kati. She's our lawyer and makes sure our product is fully compliant with German and EU regulation. I'm Tim. I'm the DeFi expert of our team with more than 6 years of experience in the crypto space. Lieven, he's our techie. He led IT teams and built tech products his entire life. And you already met Christoph. He's our market guy with more than 15 years of experience in product management and sales. And of course, you're all interested in what we've achieved so far. We are live with 2 partners and are generating first revenues. We have 3 more clients signed and already raised our pre-seed round with over €500,000. In order to be able to onboard our first tier 1 customer, we are now raising our seed round. We are looking for an investment of €2.5 million. And we are officially kicking off our round today. So sign up to our investors newsletter. We're going to share all relevant information during the next days. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Amazing. Chris and Tim, ladies and gentlemen. So, by the way, for those who haven't noticed, there's a little clock at the back. And if you haven't noticed that before, this is an evidence why, again, this program is so great, because all the startups have learned to really master the pitch within 3 minutes. Because sometimes 3 minutes is exactly the time you have between 2 meetings to pitch your startup to potential investors. Right. So there has been tons of work going into it to bring it down to the concise moments as we have here. So now we have learned how we earned interest with our crypto, but then what happens when we want to protect it? The next startup, Insured, will tell you how you can potentially do that. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Alistair and Vitis from Insured.
This is very exciting. So, we are Insured and making quality insurance for digital assets. Both my co-founder and myself come from the crypto industry, and we both had the same problem. We struggled to get quality insurance for the companies that we used to work for. We're trying to understand if this is an industry-wide problem or just something that happened to Alistair and myself. And after talking with more than 50 stakeholders, we've realized that there's a lack of quality insurance, especially in the digital asset custody space. Here you will see 2 bubbles. The big bubble represents the assets under custody of the largest custodians, $250 billion. And the small bubble represents the insured assets of those custodians, less than 0.5%. And also, after talking with insurance companies, we've realized that the problem behind this insurance coverage is, first of all, there's a knowledge gap in which insurance companies don't understand the risks that custodians are exposed to and thus don't want to get involved in this risk class. And secondly, there's no way to assess this risk in a concise and parametric way.
So we've created DA Insured to sit between the custodians and the insurance underwriters. We provide transparent coverage to the custodians, and we've created a risk model that is tailored to the specific risks in managing digital assets custody. We map those risks to existing insurance language, which allows us to generate greater capacity, which will reduce premiums and allow us to provide a higher quality, lower cost solution to our clients. Why now? The demand for insurance is increasing. Institutional players are coming into the digital assets market, regulation is requiring insurance, and we have the maturing of the custody providers themselves. Our total addressable market is 1.2 billion. That's the premiums that you could earn from insuring all of the assets in centralized custodians and exchanges. Our go-to-market strategy will focus in Europe, where our target market is 290 million.
And who's the team behind Insured? Alistair comes from being the COO at Sylbaa, where he built and led their custody solution, meaning that he's an expert in how crypto custody works. And myself, I also come from the crypto industry. Back in Colombia, I built and launched a successful crypto B2B product, and we're backed by a great set of advisors who come from crypto, insurance, and risk expertise. What have we done and what are we doing? The journey started early this year in Start Global in St. Gallen. We ran our validations during the Tenti program. We are currently doing our business prototype with an insurance partner, Superscript, who's connected to the Lloyd's market. With that traction, we are planning on fundraising $400,000 to launch our MVP early next year. Once again, we are the Insured, and we want to invite you to join us to making the digital assets ecosystem trustworthy.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, Vitis and Alistair. Thank you very much. So now, you earned your interest, you protected it well, and now I want you to put on a hat as a business owner, because some of you are business owners. And imagine your portfolio grows and grows in assets, but specifically also in digital assets. Then the happens once, for sure. So from the next startup, you will get to hear how they tackle in case the complexity goes so much. And now I want you to picture how the future could look like if you have one single source of truth where you get an overview from all your digital assets. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Robert from Blockaware.
Well, hi everybody. My name is Robert, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Blockaware. And today I'm going to tell you a story about one of our customers. His name is Lucas, a 30-year-old founder from Munich. After delivering a successful project that earned him around 50k euros in profits, he decided to invest in the market. So he took half his profits, putting in a bank savings account, and the other half he wanted to invest it into Bitcoin. So he started researching the best way of getting into crypto, and much to his surprise, he found the whole process immensely complex, even for someone with his technical prowess. Onboarding is almost impossible, as the bank tried to shut down his account if he touches any crypto. Centralized exchanges are not so safe for him, especially after the FTX collapse, and his other alternative is using a retail crypto-native solution such as MetaMask, which is way too complex for him. Lucas' story is not unique. There are countless of founders across the world who cannot get into the digital asset space. Around 500,000 digitally native companies in the European Union and many more millions around the world. And this happens because there's currently a significant gap in the market. On one side, you have retail solutions, which are not safe and compliant enough for a business. And on the other side, you have solutions designed for large enterprises, which are way too complex and way too expensive for a small business. So this is where we come in. At Blockaware, we aim to empower founders such as Lucas to get into the digital asset space. With Blockaware, Lucas' company now has access to a decentralized wallet that is easy to use, compliant with the latest regulation, and integrated with accounting software for easy collaboration and transparency. And we've looked throughout the market and studied all the solutions available, and based on that, we built the most complete product for an SME out there. It's as easy to onboard as any retail popular solution, but as safe and compliant as the top enterprise ones. And we managed to do that mainly based on our experience. Myself and Florian have built successful fintechs in the past. Andrea, our CFO, comes from Barclays and Credit Agricole. And Mihai and Andrei, our techies, are experienced software engineers that worked previously at companies such as Google and Full Tilt Poker. Together, last month, we managed to launch our private beta and onboard 22 companies from 7 countries. We aim to reach 100 by the start of the next year. We are currently raising our pre-seed round and are actively looking for any investor or strategic partners that aligns with our mission. So if you're interested in joining our vision, let's have a chat about after this talk, where I'm more than welcome to answer any of your questions. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robert from Blockaware. So, this was the first half. And as you can see, as some of the pitches dive into really deep technological challenges. The underlying issues are things we already see in the nowadays financial world. It's to protect, it's to earn interest, is to insure, right? But with the complexity we find ourselves in nowadays world, it takes exactly specialists like these startups to help you solve and overcome those challenges through technology yet again. There we go. MC² Finance, running up the first block before coming on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, hear from him directly what they will tackle. Thank you very much. Sure. All the best, Chris. Thank you.
Hello. It works. Hello, my name is Chris. I'm co-founder of MC² Finance, and we want to empower you to create digital asset funds in seconds that fully align with current regulations. Let's meet Albert. He has a passion for trading and would one day love to own his own fund. But when he thinks about creating a fund, he gets a lot of more gray hairs. He needs to find the right investors, set up custody. Both heavily regulated leads to a ton of administrative works and costs. But all he actually wants to do is share his passion of trading with the world. We believe there is a better way. With MC² Finance, we use the power of blockchain to simplify and streamline fund creation and compliance. With us, Albert can fully focus on creating the best strategies, and creating an instant digital asset fund is as easy as filling out a form on our website. Our exchange partner network helps even find the right suitable investors for the strategy, and investors can always keep client custody. That means they can keep the assets always either in their wallet, with the custodians, or eventually with the bank. Our system, as well as third-party auditors, assure asset safety in real time. Albert just needs to create a single profile to get visibility on all of our exchange partners, and we have a range of crypto-native exchange partners already ready for our launch, with more than 1.7 billion assets under management and 5.2 million users. And that's why we have a range of strategists and experts eagerly waiting for our launch, from influencers to hedge funds to market makers to crypto-native protocols. And that's why PwC awarded us top 3 game changer in the DeFi space. Traditional funds are complex and expensive. Copy trading is limited to their own community, and DeFi vaults are just non-compliant. In contrast, MC² Finance features full client custody, a vast distributor network, and works with any token, therefore is future-proof. And compliance is easy and streamlined. Decentralized exchanges made more than 3 billion revenues last year. We expect that we can reach about 1% of this in the first 3 years. And as a crypto-native company, we have great economies of scale. Our core revenue streams are deposit fees and management fees. And this only works with a great team. We have more than 20 years experience in developing and fintech, and have built A-class advisory from different sectors. We just started in January with the project, closed in April a 200K angel round, and are now already live on the main blockchains with our early access product. And we expect that in the next 3 months, we can start making revenues. That's why we would like you to join us to our pre-seed round, where 50% is already committed by leaders like Tenti, like Animoca, like Cointelegraph. And let's talk afterwards how we can make digital asset funds a reality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christoph. So, as we promised, halftime. Now imagine all the startups are going to be successful in the near future. One of the pressing questions is, how do we raise even more? You've seen them, they've pitched it to you. And sometimes this story do come with a very, very beautiful story. So while we're now moving over, I would like to ask the Tenti crew to start preparing the chairs. And we will now joined by David from TX Ventures. Love, you already heard him being called out by Roy earlier today, the founder and the co-founder and CEO of Relio, and hosted by Mark Hauser from Tenti for the fireside chat. So, ladies and gentlemen, David, Love, Mark, please welcome on stage. Enjoy the fireside chat. Thank you very much.
Take it off? It was up there. Let's take it off just for any picture. Grab a mic. It's off.
Thank you.
I know, Love, you hurt your leg, so we brought chairs. No, we had chairs planned. Good. I hope you still have some energy. We wanted to use the time to talk about fundraising. Obviously, all the startups, we have seen them all on the left, right? Their key question at the moment is how to make money, how to bring cash into the company, and this normally comes from two sides, either clients, which is best, or second best is investors. We talk about second best tonight because that's the key focus. Super happy to have David and Love here with me and dive into the topic. Maybe each of you gives a very quick, like who you are, what do you do, and then we dive into some of the key learnings. And for all of the people, maybe we can give the QR code again to the Mentimeter, or I can actually do it, no? Or you have it, can you click one forward? Perfect, Ui. What did I do? Okay, here it's back. Perfect. Scan it. You can ask your questions as well. I will try to get as many as possible in as well, but obviously kick things off on our end first. David, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm David. I'm a senior investment manager at TX Ventures. We're a Zurich-based fintech-only VC, 100 million fund investing in seed, Series A, fintechs across Europe. We love everything from traditional fintech to insurtech, proptech, and digital assets.
Thanks a lot, and also a long-term partner of Tenti and making sure to see the startups very, very early and follow the journey. And Love, maybe you can say a bit about yourself.
So hello everyone, my name is Love and I'm a CEO and co-founder of Relio. At Relio we recently received license from FINMA, so it's called fintech license, but what we offer is bank accounts for SMEs. And our USP compared to other digital banks Europe-wide is focusing on automating compliance and AML more specifically. So yes, we're live since 1 month. And in case anybody of you needs a bank account, please approach me later.
Well done, took Roy's advice right there, but well done. Obviously, as startups always take any opportunity to pitch and stay remembered. So SME bank accounts, complex cases, really can help. Let's dive maybe and start with some of the key learnings that both of you had, and you shared a few points before, but maybe we start this time with Love. Like you are hammering down how important it is to, before you even build, and I do that in startups can tell you later why startups fail session again, like how do you validate before you even build, right? How important is this, and maybe what did you do there?
Excellent question. So it's not always easy. It's obvious, right? Because how you measure startup and how you measure success, not only for your customers, but also for your employees, but also investors, and all of this is really needed to get the thing going is traction, and probably a bit boring and everybody repeats, but I know it's, in many cases, there are a lot of obstacles, and when, let's say, 2-3 co-founders start speaking, it's always like, do we bring half-baked product to the market in 2 months, or in 6 months we do it properly? And it's really hard, and it always feels that, you know, we should take tiny bit more time and do it properly, especially in Switzerland. My experience is that, you know, it's always a society that does things really well long-term, but in startups, it's not always best to do everything properly, and it's sometimes important to do something half-baked just to show it to the customers, because only then we really learn and see and could actually then build in the next iteration what's really needed, and not really properly something that nobody will ever use. In our, I don't know how much time we have.
No, but like tell us, what is a half-baked bank account?
No, so exactly. In our case, it was quite limiting. So first of all, when we wanted to launch, because with us it's all about onboarding and risk scoring, And we wanted to do this. We almost heard how we will all go to jail because until you get FINMA license, you cannot advertise or even be close to advertise bank accounts. But if you really try, if you really challenge, in our case lawyers, but in generally the world view around you, you can always find ways to offer one part, to have disclaimers, to do whatever it's needed, and then to get to some traction. Because I'm sure, I don't know if it's obvious, but David and Takes invested in us. And before that, Six and other VCs like HTGF and some other ones, not to mention them now. I'm sure they wouldn't do it unless they would see at least some early signs of traction.
Maybe you can comment, how did you look at the traction when you invested? Because it was pre-license, as I remember it, was kind of also some conditions. Maybe I don't know how much you can tell about.
Well, I think that's a very specific case. It's probably not the usual case. We don't usually invest in banks. I mean, we invested in one, but that's not what we do all the time. So obviously anything which is not regulated, it's much easier. You can actually get traction, and ultimately the best traction you can have are paying customers, right? Pilots are great, POCs are great, but as soon as you have a customer actually paying real cash, that's when you have a proof point, right? Yeah. Specifically at Relio, you can do things through waitlist. You can talk to people, right? We talk to lots of lawyers. We talk to people in the industry to understand how big of a problem that actually is. So you need other ways to get comfort. That being said, obviously, Relio being a FINMA-regulated entity now, that also holds value. And I think you need to look at it in a slightly different angle than what you would usually do in case of a fully sort of regulated financial institution.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And maybe you're touching on trust here as well and credibility and how did it work? And you were mentioning also in the prep like the importance of investing into the relationship. Maybe you can share a bit more on that side.
Well, I mean, investing is like marriage. I mean, it hopefully doesn't last as long, but there's a end date after a few years, right? But still,
why not? It should last forever, right? Because
I mean, we will hopefully.
If we start paying dividend, why like like? No,
well, I mean, obviously as a fund, right?
Like
you have a
couple already.
You can see we're fighting on stage, so we must been married for a while. No, but as a fund. And I think we'll get to that point as well, right? Understand how VCs work. We have a fund, and we have it's an 8-year plus 2-year fund, right? So at some point, we will need to give back money to our investors. So yes, there is unfortunately an end date, sorry, love. But during that time, it's an extremely close relationship. And as with anything, at the point when you're investing, it's all great and fantastic, and it's all going up. It never does. And it's always easy to have a good relationship when things are going well. When things are not going well, it's slightly different. So really try and build relationships, and the time of 1 week between first call and term sheet, I think those have mostly gone. And I think that's a good thing, because you need to really build relationships and talk about other things than just startups, and see whether you actually also have a fit on a personal level. And that's how you will be able to tackle some of the issues which will come up much better than if it's a purely sort of work-related relationship.
Wonderful, good. You were mentioning also building relationship, but not only with the investor side, but actually with other portfolio companies of the investor.
Maybe just one small remark towards the last thing. No, I fully agree with David, and I think it almost never, at least in my startups, and it's my second or third, it never really goes up and to the right. It goes like this on pitch decks and on traction projections, but it's always bumpy rides. And if there isn't already really good feeling between people, then it's really easy to fall away and not really go through. So really, really important to have good relationship. Yeah. We discussed this before. What would be the points? We could mention some marks leading me to one of the top points I raised. For example, when we get closer of agreeing with David and Christoph for the investment, we strategically started literally hanging out with startups they invested in. So you know how they normally tell you for your employees, call, for reference call? I think it's really important to meet these people and get their trust, because they'll really be able, only then you'll really be able to get at the bottom of how these people actually operate, how it is to work with them. Are they more, give you money and just like call you once a year to deliver KPIs, or do they really want to be involved and call you for 2-hour workshops every second week? So all of these things could also, I know it sounds like a luxury problem, and for many startups, it's like, they would take money from devil himself, but it's really not like this, and sometimes really better maybe getting funded 3 months later or 6 months later with a proper startup. And then you can also get some other things. Maybe you'll learn, maybe David will not like this, but maybe you'll get to learn what's important for a VC, what they can really negotiate on, or where they're really firm, or if they already burned their fingers with one or other things, and that's why that clause is so important to them. But there will be maybe something you can get that's not so important to them and still very valuable to you.
I mean, just to add to that, maybe it's funny, we VCs, we always do reference calls, right? We call customers, partners, we talk to the existing investors, we talk to whomever we get our hands on. And then it's funny when startups don't do that. I mean, we do it for a reason, right? And one of the reasons is trying to find out how people tick. So I encourage every startup to do reference calls and talk to portfolio companies and co-investors and whatever, right?
Thanks, David. I wanted to do the same, right? Due diligence on this side. Why not do due diligence also on the other side? And I think that's super important, especially if it's a fund or a company lesser known, right? So can be total perfect fit, but make sure to have the due diligence also on the startup side, that you go out and do the due diligence. Maybe, David, we jump to this. You said, how does the VC industry work? Understanding you touched on the 8 plus 10-year horizon, and maybe also when in the fund life you get your investment. What can you share there that is super crucial?
I think it's as soon as you move past the point of getting funds from family, friends, and fools, and maybe the first business angels or an accelerator, and you want to get funding from institutional investors, which, by the way, it's not all sort of the golden route, and that's how you always have to do it. There's plenty of other ways to get to become a very successful startup. And as with anything in life, there's no free lunch, and VC is certainly not a free lunch. But I think it's important you understand how VCs work, both in terms of the financial side of things, like how does a fund work, what's the timeline of a fund, when do you invest, how does it work with initial tickets, with follow-on, etc. But then also, what's the investment mandate of a VC? I see lots of requests on LinkedIn, etc., from startups where it's obviously not in our mandate. We have our mandate on our website, right? If a company from Singapore is approaching me, I mean, I appreciate it, but no, we can't invest in Singapore. So really do your due diligence, and you'll be able to figure out what are your hot leads or maybe not your hot leads, and where do you really have a super good fit, and where does it make sense to maybe talk to your not so good fits first, so you can learn and iterate, and then talk to your A VCs a bit later on. And in particular in the current environment, I think it's also important to check how many deals an investor has done over the last 12 months, right? Fundraising is tough for startups. Fundraising is equally tough for funds. So there are funds out there who are currently between Fund 1 and 2 and are struggling to fundraise. They will look at deals because they need to keep deal flow up for their fundraising. They're not actually closing deals. So one easy way to look is, have they done any deals over the last 12 months? If they have not, it's a question whether you want to spend time with those investors or ask them up front, hey, are you actively investing? So I think you can always challenge the investor as well, like, where do you stand in your fund life? Are you actively investing, etc.?
Will they tell you that they don't invest now?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, the good ones would, but still, if it's an indication, right? You can see over the last 12 months what have they done, what they haven't done, and that's a good indication. It's really not worthwhile spending time with VCs who don't actively invest. I think it's a waste of your time.
Yeah, well, good point. Thanks a lot. Which maybe leads us to, Love, you said negotiating with VCs, right? And I think many of you are currently also in the situation, and maybe some of the investors on the other side. What would you share? What is the learning on the negotiation side? How to approach this?
So I don't know if there are any good advice with negotiations. The best would probably be to have 2-3 VCs, you know, because if it's a buyer market or seller market, this will greatly, you know, this will be much more important than how you negotiate, because in the end it's normally clear who has advantage. So on negotiations in general, not really sure what would be the best approach, but apart from having more VCs, probably being open-minded. So some deals at first, you know, maybe you had in your head idea that you will have X million valuation, and then you know, sometimes you're wrong, sometimes VCs are wrong, but it's really good to have. In the end, you will not know, right, unless you try and go that way. But probably good advice would be to be open-minded. It's less about, let's say, valuation today and more about equity storyline. So if you can really raise whatever X million today at Y million valuation, maybe that's not the most critical thing. But if you, with this money, achieve ABC, in 1 year time, you will maybe be able to get to the next stage, and then it really becomes interesting. And the more in future you can project, first of all, the closer you are to reality, because you'll have more data points where you can check some other similar startup in similar markets, in similar industries, what were the valuation. But maybe more important to this is that it's also that you'll be able to really do something, because if you don't have a storyline, VCs will very rarely be so amazed with you and the opportunity to create one for you. So it's something I learned from another VC, and actually he's here in the room on the right. That if I don't project the storyline myself, how can I expect him to go and persuade his IC? And he was kind enough to help me with this, but it's not very often that this is the case. Yeah, I hope this makes sense.
Totally. Be open-minded. Don't be stuck on maybe a set valuation, and maybe also here and there a term is important. Also, we see cases where the founders just didn't understand the reasoning, right? Also, to the VC, sometimes you need to explain why you need one, like a liquidation preference in the beginning to.
Oh, sorry, Mark. On that point, I think there is one really good advice. Really stick to standard and always ask VCs if they want. Of course, it's not really easy to know what standard is, but they're probably from 1 to 10, you can probably agree 4 to 6 is standard. And you know, if they want to do 2 or 3, then really ask reasons. Okay, why should this deviate from what normally it is? And there are plenty of documents online. You can see how some of the top VCs in the world are investing, what kind of clauses they like and they don't like. And then when it's deviating from these best practices, there is maybe a point to, you know, quote something or to say, look, why don't we do it like this? It's obviously that some other people are doing it like that. And then when it goes to the field of arguments, and not just like, I think it should be X, but, you know, I see these guys doing it like this because of that. What do you say? Then it becomes more argumentative and less like, I think it should be one or another thing.
Yeah. Just maybe last comment. There are as many market standards as there are lawyers, for sure. So it's always take it with a grain of salt. But no, in Switzerland, use something like SECA and you'll be mostly fine. But I love those lawyer-to-lawyer discussions. Each lawyer always claims he has the market standards.
Just one small comment more. SECA is really VC-friendly. And so SECA should be like almost the as bad as it gets, if you ask me.
Agree to disagree.
Perfect. Maybe last point, and then I would like to switch to some questions. Preparation, David. You were like, yeah, how do you prepare? What is the point there?
I'll keep it short so we can get to questions. A well thought through, decent looking pitch deck is usually the first point of contact with an investor, and first impressions matter. So make sure you do good prep. Nowadays you can do super cool interactive data rooms on Notion. Whatever makes you stand out from the crowd is great. But your ability to fundraise is also the first proof point we as investors get of your ability to do sales to customers. So make sure you're well prepped, you learn how to pitch. I mean, all the pitches we've heard so far have been fantastic. If every pitch would be like that, I think it would be a slightly different game. But no, really, do your prep.
Thanks a lot. Let's look at the question. Anything that jumps at you that you would like to get started?
It's fine. Questions are always most interesting. I see
exactly
quite a few of them.
Yes. What would you? Is there anything jumping at you? So one is the code. Maybe we can remove that. Seed round size in Switzerland. Typical size. Maybe is a question for now. I would assume, right? Maybe this also has a little bit shifted.
I'm usually not a big fan of calling it seed or Series A or whatever it is. I mean, it's a bit of a marketing thing, but I'd say typically seed 2-3 million is probably a general sort of seed round in Switzerland, but we've seen 10, we've seen less. It ultimately doesn't really matter too much how you call it, but it rather matters how well the size you want to fundraise matches to your current traction and where you stand in terms of your business.
Wonderful. Maybe, I guess it's for you, Lev. How important were grants for you in the beginning to get started?
In the beginning, we that's not a grant, right? We got money from Tenti, from F10, but this was a CLA. We didn't get much grants. We started getting grants afterwards. I think up to now we got close to 400K of grants.
What was the biggest?
The biggest one was from World Bank. We still haven't received it, but we got it. So I hope
they should be solvent.
It will come soon. Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful.
And maybe just one comment. Normally, startups that are good with grants are not really good with business in general, at least from my experience, because it's very different skill set to get grants and to get VCs and customers, I would say.
Yeah, good point. Like also sometimes getting a grant can be so absorbing that it just makes sense to not get it. Yeah. Raising versus bootstrapping, and it's always an interesting question. And David, you touched on it when you said, look, VC, like there's no free lunch, and also VC is no free lunch, and there are other routes to become a successful startup.
Well, I mean, I have the biggest respect for any founder or founder team who bootstraps. I mean, that's fantastic. If you can keep full control and full ownership of your company, I mean, more power to you. There are certain business models out there, be it a regulated business model, but obviously also, for example, B2C business models, where it's just very hard to bootstrap because you need capital to get going and you need to reach a certain size where your business model starts to make sense. But again, if you want to get institutional money, be aware of what it means, both in terms of dilution, obviously, but also in terms of control and governance. I mean, OpenAI is now a very bad example of governance, obviously, but most investors will want to have some governance, some form of control, or at least the ability to influence certain decisions. So just be aware of that. If you can bootstrap, more power to you. Many can't, so raising is the obvious way.
Thanks.
Maybe just very shortly to add on this, what I did, or what we did at Relay and what I did before, I would always make two cases. If I keep on bootstrapping, I expect to get there, to invest so much in marketing and so on, and to get to point A. And then if I don't bootstrap, but I give somebody 20-30% of my company, then maybe I'll be on a different trajectory, and then is 80% of the better case actually worth more or less than the first one, at least theoretically. But I think most of us, at least it was for me, it was not really the point where I say, okay, no longer bootstrapping, now let's have VC money, but that it's a bit of effort and friction to really get there. So I think for most of startups, it's not going to be a really clear choice and decision, but it will take some time to get there.
Mm-hmm. Maybe one of the question here is looking at the current environment as well, biggest challenges, and obviously we are all aware if we look out, the fundraising numbers have been dropping about, was it over 50%, 54% in terms of volume in the first half year, this versus the previous year. However, only approximately 5% in number of rounds, which seems like
5%.
Yeah, only 5% in the number of rounds, which is an indication, obviously, average size going down. And maybe not the big rounds weren't closed, right? Obviously, the big rounds are also at risk for a down round at the moment because the environment has changed, and you wouldn't raise if you don't have to, because maybe the valuation wouldn't be one that, as a founder and also existing investors like. But like some comments maybe from David, and I know you spend a lot of time and we discussed it many times, like what are the challenges now in the current environment?
Well, I think thankfully for many founders here, you're pre-seed seed founders, and I think for that it's slightly different than Series A, Series B onward. Series B is very challenging. The closer you're getting to public markets, the more you're actually measured on public market multiples, etc. So that is a very difficult environment to currently be in, and we are seeing lots of down rounds, or at least flat rounds, internal rounds to somehow try and bridge another 6 months in the hope that the markets will recover. Until then, who knows? Pre-seed seed, I'd say, is slightly different. Valuations, I would say, in general, have come down a bit, but not by that much. And I would say you can still close deals. You can still get funding. It usually takes a bit longer, I would say. But yeah, obviously, money is not free anymore, and that has an implication on how much funds are available in the market, and that has an impact on all the terms and how many fundraisers there are and how big they are, etc.
Anything from your end? When did you close the round?
So it's not probably a good question because we signed the round and waited for the license.
Mike it.
Oh, sorry. So we signed the deal more than a year ago, and then it basically even more than that. But then we waited for license to be approved in order to close the deal. So maybe I can't really say at the moment. We can see that there's still some VCs that we get emails from, and it's really hard for me to judge to say anything more concrete.
Perfect. Quick question then, Love, for you. Like, how do you feel about the 100 million limit in the fintech license?
Obviously, we're not really crazy happy for having this limit. But look, first of all, there are ways to go around it, legal ways to go around it, and secondly, it will still take us some time to get there. And once we prove that that it scales and that the business model scales, probably this will also be a good time to maybe consider upgrading to a full banking license. So at the moment, it's not a limiting factor, and I hope that it becomes very soon.
Thanks a lot. I think I would close it on this. Thank you very much, David and Love, for sharing your experience. So, before you run off stage, also something to read and eat. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks. Hans, back to you, and maybe back to the other slide. Thanks, Love.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Thank you again, once again, to all the panelists. It was a really exciting discussion, from my opinion as well, because I always love when moments like these, the headline moments, right? Investment is happening, things are exploding, right? That behind that spectacular moment, there's a lot to be demystified, right? Things, let me just share a few of my thoughts. It's a two-way street relationship, right? And due diligence can happen both ways. And that doesn't strike that as insane if you think about it, right? Because you want to know with whom you're going to get married, to pick up your anecdote. And then it all eventually leads to longevity, right? Like we want to be in a society where companies are prosperous, and for that, I think it's nothing wrong to pick up a phone and have a few chats with the ecosystem. So, moving on to the second half, so we're going to shake that heavy discussion a little bit off because we're going back a few steps before we have raised that money, where we still bring that passion up and say, look, I believe I have something here in my hands for you to invest into. So with the first startup of the second group, hands up here, and I think, I know I promise I won't do that, but I think this is something you can be proud of. If you can raise your hands for this question is, hands up who was lucky enough to file a patent once for their company. That you did something so cutting edge that you believe that this is worth protecting with a patent. And was it easy? Yes. Okay, so we're going to talk later about how you managed to do that. Typically not the most passionate thing to do. It's complicated, there you go. And so I would love to hear, though, from Adam how InCatalyst can lower that complication for you and the others as well a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Adam from InCatalyst.
Hello, everyone. Thank you again to the panelists for an interesting discussion. Somebody mentioned something about monkeys and lawyers. So if you like that, I think you'll like this pitch. My name is Adam. I'm a co-founder of InCatalyst. We're a legal tech startup that help companies patent their inventions in a simpler and more affordable manner. Did you know that it costs around $56,000 in the US and EU to obtain a patent? Now, even for large companies, this is not a small sum. What's also interesting is that a patent lasts you 20 years, and you have to pay fees throughout all these 20 years. But you pay a lot more in the beginning when you draft and file a patent. And this can be a problem for SMEs because they earn less in the beginning. So what do we propose as a solution? Our main flagship product is a software that we call the Patent Drafting Pipeline, which helps companies draft their own patents in faster times and lower costs. When you draft a patent, you have to do several things. You have to do a prior art search, you have to write your invention description, then your claims, and lastly, you have to do a novelty check. Our software guides users through all these essential stages, so that by the end, they'll have a patent draft that is 90% complete. And it works through conversation. We ask the user a question about his or her invention. Based on the response they receive, we adjust the output of the draft that we create. And by the way, we also do filing and post-filing services. And it's important to mention this because it's part of our business model. We're not solely an AI company. We're a B2B legal tech company. That is why we offer filing and post-filing services too, so that we can offer a complete and convenient patenting process to our clients. The goal of our business model is to reduce the initial drafting costs to acquire clients, so that then we can offer them higher margin post-filing services for the next 20 years. And that should help you understand the business model, the graph on the right. Overall, we estimate that we can decrease the cost of patenting by around 40%. And the market of the patent industry is fairly large. Globally, it's around 190 billion. US and EU is 46 billion. And we're targeting an obtainable market of 460 million. Now, with a market that large, there's of course going to be competition. Our main competitive advantage is that through automation, we can reduce drafting times and drafting costs. But we don't scale back on the range of legal services that we offer to our clients, because those are still very important to them. Now, we have a well-positioned team that can build this mission. We have a mix of business, legal, and tech experts. Some of our more experienced members, like Konstantin and Franco, have a well-connected business network in their respective industries that we can leverage. We've done numerous things so far together. Most importantly, we found a patent lawyer that is willing to handle the filing part for us. We also finished our MVP and obtained our first client. And where are we going next? By the first quarter of next year, we will file the first patent with our first client. Then we'll set up our distribution strategy through SME and tech transfer offices in Europe. Lastly, by the end of the year, we aim to achieve 100 onboarded users. And what do we need to achieve this vision? We're looking for a pre-seed funding round of 550,000 francs, 50% of which is already self-committed. Most of it will go into product development, distribution, and marketing. So if you want to help us build our vision, let's definitely get in touch. I'd be more than happy to show you a product demo on our stands. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Adam. So, with the next company, I'm going to give Stephen a couple of seconds to get prepared. All good. You will find your way up here. It's a company I wish I had when all the crypto craze was started, because it was all news out there, but you didn't know really what news to trust and how to leverage them. So with Napcat, we hope to hear from Stephen how real-time crypto news can help you change that problem. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen from Napcat.
Last month, Bitcoin price moved by more than 5% following 1 hour. Within 1 hour, following a tweet. So did anybody of you capitalize on it? Maybe one? Well, the answer is probably not. But following using our solution, you could actually trade the news. So what do we offer? We offer real-time news alerts, where you get the entity, the sentiment, and the topic. So you can be the first one to trade the news. Why do you care? So maybe you're a trader, and you want to trade the volatility or the direction. Maybe you're a market maker, and you want to open your spread using for risk analysis. Or you just want to tell the news to your friend the fastest. A bit about the segment that we're targeting. So we're targeting institutional with RSS feed and low latency. Then also a trading sharing agreements based on basis points and also a data licensing. Because we actually store a huge amount of data. A bit about the market. So it's a niche market, but growing every day, of about 1.4 trillion, with an obtainable market of about 150 million. We are the only one to offer an API and a large language model to interact with real-time news. We focus on digital assets and low latency. So a bit about the traction. So we built, we're part of the Tenti incubator. We built a proof of concept with one news aggregated. And starting from now, we plan to aggregate more news sources and to close the first client within the next 3 months. So who are we behind the team? So it's me, CEO and co-founder, Stephen, with a background in data engineering and data analysis. And my co-founder, Saman, with CTO, who actually has a PhD in machine learning. So if something that interests you, please scan this QR code and book a demo with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. So, the next startup, I personally, is a startup which I admire a lot because they came all the way from Colombia to join this incubation batch. So not only did they have a very, very long journey behind themselves, but also to bring that vision onto this stage is something which I really admire. So when I learned that the Bloomberg keyboard is something people really feel passionate about, I later learned that the whole industry behind that is because of the software and the access it gives to people. But that's usually dedicated to a very small amount of people out there in the world because the impact they can generate with that is very large. But now, let's flip the table and let's imagine how the Bloomberg for everyone could look like. Let's listen here from Andres and Camilo all the way from Colombia. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause. All the way.
Swiset is the Bloomberg for retail trading. Hi everyone, I'm Andres.
I'm Camilo.
And we are the co-founders. Our journey began 8 years ago at the Bloomberg course. Since then, we have been identifying the major challenge within the trading and investment industry. So there is a lack of access to reliable and comprehensive data analytics for making informed trading decisions, as institutionals do. But also, retail brokers face a significant retention challenge, with around 90% churn rate within the first year. So we built Swiset to tackle that, with features such as actionable trading insights, also a mentor powered by AI and behavioral analytics, and as well, risk management tool designed just for the retails. And with a SaaS business model, we reach over 250,000 ARR with 22,000 users and 14 B2B clients. All of this, 100% bootstrap. So today we are racing, and Camilo is going to tell you why.
First, on the product side, we are shaping the ultimate compiler for trading analysis by seamlessly connecting our existing behavioral insights with LLMs and market data to elevate the trader's performance, enabling the trading ecosystem to boost their revenue. Second, our vision involves extending our market reach and our revenue streams within the industry, while tackling acquisition and retention challenges. Look forward, we plan to partner together with key players in the UK, Europe, and MENA regions, such as Swissquote, Saxovan, or even eToro. Third, these sums up are huge market size, just in terms of B2B retention tools, valuated at around $67 billion. Derivated by 15% expand by brokers, just in terms of retention tools.
With our growth, we project to reach 1 million ARR for the next year. Future revenue streams, such as Open API and business intelligence, are expected to drive our growth to 3 to 4 times every year. And as I mentioned before, we are raising our first funding round, looking to raise 1 million. Half of the round is already committed, and we are waiting for the lead VC to join and close the round. Our team, including our mentors, have had extensive expertise in financial markets, trading technology, and even algorithmic trading and brokerage. So we are ready to scale. We know how to do it. We have done it in the past, even with our external resources. So today, we want you to come on board and be part of the next Bloomberg, but for retails. So who's ready to join?
Thank you very much. The next startup is a startup which I just love the story because it uses one of the newest inventions, technology, to digitalize probably one of the oldest, I would say, products to trade. It's gold. So let's hear from Selina how they do it and tackle that with sylbaa. Ladies and gentlemen, Selina from sylbaa, thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Selina, and tonight I'm bringing you Safe Haven. We provide software for gold traders, and this is goldgermany.com, our client. And they stand in front of the problem that the web service takes time and effort. The traffic is super expensive in this field, and the customers, they just drop off. Speaking of customers, here on the right-hand side, we have Eric, their potential customer, and he navigates online to seek selling and buying opportunities for both investment products and also to sell old gold. This should be a huge potential, but he drops off from online to offline. First question, the value, then the type of precious metals, the alloy, the weight, the type of investment product, the budget, shipping, storage, and then savings plans. So many questions in his mind, and he does not get any feedback or help. So he drops off to a dodgy shop with non-transparent pricing. We are solving this with a subject-specific AI. We're transferring the offline gold expert to the web space, where we can advise the customer and take him by the hand. We're talking about a complete end-to-end solution integrated in goldgermany.com's web service. And we are able to generate tailor-made offers to the specific needs of the customer, and we are able to pre-authorize amounts in an escrow. It's not a secret that the gold market is a big market. We're talking about 12 trillion US dollar global gold market capitalization, and with a conservative assumption, we can generate with this solution only 110 million US dollar. We are differentiating between white label solution for big market leading companies and then iframe solution for small companies, easy to implement, where we take an additional 1% rev share. The team, I have a background in the global jewelry industry. I'm an expert for precious metals. I've been to India, where I've managed workers of 6 different departments. And I have my co-founder Rishi on board, who scaled from 0 to 15 million in a Sequoia-funded startup. And we're currently testing out highly qualified candidates for the CTO position. We are raising 500K. We have strong traction with market-leading companies in Germany, and we already have 70% committed. So if you want to join us in rethinking, digitalizing, and disrupting the gold market, be quick and come talk to us. Thank you.
Be quick, you've heard it. So, this is the last startup. Before I'm going to welcome them, I really want you to bring up your energy one more time, because it's sometimes always the hardest to wait through all the pitches to still bring up the energy, so I want you to support them. So, in the midst of decentralization in the area of crypto, blockchain, one problem and question remains, is how to give the ownership back to the user. So please welcome me with the loudest applause tonight on stage, Aaron and Gianmarco.
Last but not least, hello everyone, I'm Aaron, he's Gianmarco, and with Elysium, we are developing a wallet for digital assets. Do you remember the first time you used internet? It was a mess, inaccessible, really difficult to use, unsecure, and this is happening now with digital assets. But finance is moving on-chain, and we are simplifying the access on it.
So at the moment, there are no affordable ways for the users to get into the space without compromises. They can either use an exchange and give their funds a third-party provider, but at the same time, the ownership is not there. If they use the second type of wallet they can use is a non-custodial wallet, but at the same time, the custody is really difficult. So what's the solution? The solution is the Elysium wallet, the most secure, simple, and smart wallet in a digital assets ecosystem. Thanks to a user-centric approach, we abstract the complexity and give a users a bank-like experience. The wallet has new tailored onboarding methods to help different type of user get access to the technology and use it for data and identity management. Elysium makes asset management really easy and smooth, becoming the perfect tool for digital payments around the globe. Lastly, we integrated the most secure and used protocols in the market to enable DeFi, institutional DeFi, and real-world assets to be exchanged on-chain. All of this inside a wallet that is compliant and helps you track all your activities inside the digital asset space.
The market is growing fast. We can address developing countries where the majority of people are unbanked, but also developed countries where the majority of banks are trying to adopt these assets, also for their clients. And that's why we expect worldwide 1 billion users before 2030. We make money through the activities performed by the user inside the application, like deposit, withdraw, exchange, and payments. We added a premium model to have a subscription fees for more features. And our business is scalable in B2B in the future. This is possible thanks to our amazing team of professionals. We can cover all the needs of a project by ourselves, and we have more 5 people in the team. Our advisors come from Google, PayPal, Kraken, Tether, and Bitfinex, the biggest player. We have been recognized, and we are part of the main blockchain startup ecosystem in Switzerland, but also abroad. Our ranking for the prototype testing was 4 stars out of 5. We worked with 2 universities in Ticino, also with InnoSwiss, and our goal is to become the official wallet of Lugano City. Now we are raising 700,000 for launch the application in Europe. We are close to the launch. We would like to continue the research and development, and we have 60% of the round commissioned. So you don't have too much time for join us. But if you want to be the first user of Elysium, you can scan this QR code, and you can be invited in our public launch soon. So if you're ready for the new finance,
come talk to us. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron and Gianmarco. So you've heard, they all don't have a lot of time. They want to move on. So to conclude, before I hand over the work to Mark with some closing remarks, I really want to thank you again one more time on behalf of Google. You guys have been a phenomenal crowd. You held it through the entire night, but that shouldn't just stop there because we're going to have drinks and networking happening outside. So bring your question because I had at least one of two of those moments where I said, how exactly do you do that? How do you tackle that? So that exactly, you can bring it then to the booth of the startups and ask them all these questions before you then starting into the future disruptors. With that, on behalf of Google, once again, thank you very much. You guys have been a phenomenal crowd. And with that, I hand over the mic to Mark with some closing remarks. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Wo ist this package? So, obviously, the obligated Tenti package. Thanks a lot, Hans. As always, fantastic moderation. Thanks a lot, and great being here. Don't worry, not a lot of talk to be left. I think what I would love to do is get the Tenti team quickly on stage, everyone, so we can do group photo, but that also that you know who is behind Tenti, that we will be around. And most importantly, if you like what happened tonight, the lower QR code will give you a free ticket to just sign up to the next one. It's happening in Surprise, half a year, 13th of June, and the location is still secret. It's not going to be here. It's not going to be here. But does the team want to come on stage real quick so we can show who has been behind? Thanks a lot, everyone. Obviously, a big team is needed to make everything happen. And I think closing, big applause to the startups, all the founders. I really think Mall, your page just rocked, especially if I remember how we screened and got the first pitches when you were visiting us long time ago. What was it? June, July, I think. And now we're in December and almost December, and great progress. Thanks a lot. Well done. Now, obviously, Apro, like a big part, obviously, is the ecosystem. Meet new people, talk to the founders. They, as mentioned, have their booths there, and they should be signs and visible and findable. Else, reach out to anyone in the team. They should be able to guide you and enjoy and network. And see you soon. Thanks a lot. Perfecto.